You've been told to shower her with attention, right? Compliment her, call her, make sure she knows you care. Well, here's the cold, hard truth. Everything you've been taught about winning a woman over is wrong. If you're always in her face, desperate for her validation, you're doing the exact opposite of what makes a woman crave your presence. It's time to flip the script and make her the one doing the chasing. Let's be clear. Ignoring her doesn't mean being disrespectful or playing toxic mind games. It's about showing her that your world doesn't revolve around her. And that's exactly what sparks attraction. Think about it. What makes luxury items desirable? Scarcity, mystery, the feeling that they're not easily obtainable. The same principle applies to relationships. When you ignore a woman strategically, you're creating a psychological pull that's hard to resist. You're tapping into something deep in human nature, the desire for what we can't easily have. This isn't manipulation. It's a demonstration of self-respect and confidence. It shows her that you're a high-value man who doesn't need to cling to anyone for validation. Now, some people will tell you this is childish or cruel. They'll say you should be upfront and expressive about your feelings. And yes, there's a time and place for that. But if you're stuck in the nice guy zone, constantly available and endlessly giving without getting anything back, it's because you've made yourself too predictable, too easy. In this video, I'll break down exactly why ignoring her can turn the tables in your favor, and how to do it right. We'll cover the psychology behind attraction, common mistakes men make, and practical steps you can take today to make her chase you. Ready to shift the power dynamic and make her see you as the prize? Let's dive in. 1. Why chasing kills attraction. Men often believe that constantly pursuing a woman will win her over. It seems logical. If you show consistent interest, she'll know you care, right? Wrong. Chasing actually lowers your value in her eyes. Here's why. The more available you are, the less intriguing you become. When you're always there, always texting, and always trying to please her, you remove the element of challenge. Attraction thrives on excitement, and chasing strips that away. Think about it. Why are some people obsessed with rare or hard-to-get things? Because they're not easily accessible. They feel special when they finally get them. The same principle applies to relationships. If she knows she can have your attention anytime, it's no longer valuable. You've made yourself too easy, and easy doesn't inspire desire. This doesn't mean you should be rude or dismissive. It means you shouldn't revolve your world around her. Women are naturally drawn to men who have their own lives, passions, and goals. When you're too eager, you send the message that you have nothing better to do. That's not attractive. Women want someone who's confident and secure enough to focus on their own path. Let's say you text her every morning, always ask how she's doing, and jump at the chance to see her. At first, she might appreciate it, but soon she'll take it for granted. She knows you're always available, so there's no thrill, no mystery. Now, imagine if you pull back a little. Instead of texting every morning, you wait. Maybe you don't reply immediately. You focus on your own goals. Suddenly, she wonders why you're not as available. What's changed? She starts thinking about you more. Your value rises. Chasing her might feel like the right move, but it kills attraction because it signals desperation. Stop the chase. Show that you're worth chasing. 2. The power of scarcity. Scarcity is one of the most powerful forces in human psychology, and it plays a crucial role in attraction. When something is rare or hard to get, we automatically assign it more value. The same principle applies to you. If you're always available, you're like a common item on a store shelf, nothing special. But if you create scarcity, you become that limited edition product everyone wants. Think about how this works in other areas of life. Why do people line up for exclusive sneakers or limited time offers? It's because they know there's a risk of missing out. That fear of loss drives desire. When you make your time and attention scarce, you create the same effect in a woman's mind. She starts to wonder about you, to crave your attention because it's not easily available. The mistake many men make is being too accessible. They think constant presence shows care, but it actually sends the opposite message, that your time isn't valuable. When you're always around, there's no urgency for her to appreciate or pursue you. You've given away the prize without her having to work for it. Let's say you used to be free to hang out anytime she asked. Now, you tell her you're busy, because you genuinely are. You're hitting the gym, working on your passion projects, and living your life. When she realizes your time is limited, she'll value it more. She'll want to be part of that busy life. Scarcity doesn't mean playing games or pretending. It means having real priorities and not dropping everything for her. When she sees you as someone in demand, someone who values their own time, she'll naturally be drawn to you. Your attention becomes a reward she wants to earn, not something she takes for granted. 3. Mystery versus availability. Mystery is one of the most powerful tools you can use to create attraction. Why? Because it triggers curiosity, and curiosity fuels interest. When a woman knows everything about you from day one, there's nothing left to discover. You become predictable, and predictability is the enemy of excitement. Men often think that by being an open book, they're building connection. They share every detail of their day, their thoughts, their feelings, hoping to impress her with honesty. But in reality, this kills the intrigue. Women are naturally drawn to what they don't fully understand. It's not about hiding who you are, but revealing yourself slowly, bit by bit. Think about it like reading a book. If you knew the entire plot and the ending from the first chapter, would you still be excited to keep reading? Probably not. The same goes for relationships. When you maintain an air of mystery, you keep her wanting more. She'll wonder what you're thinking, what you're doing, and what makes you tick. This kind of mental engagement creates a deeper pull than constant availability ever could. On the other hand, when you are always available and transparent about everything, you leave nothing to the imagination. There's no challenge, no sense of discovery. She doesn't have to work to understand you because you've already laid it all out. This might make her feel comfortable, but comfort is not the same as attraction. Women want to feel like they're uncovering layers, not flipping through an open book. This doesn't mean you should be cold or distant. It means you should pace how much you share. Let her wonder. Let her ask questions. The more she has to invest in understanding you, the more interested she'll become. Creating mystery also shows confidence. It says you're secure enough not to seek constant validation. You don't need to over-explain or prove yourself. You're comfortable letting her figure things out in her own time. That self-assuredness is magnetic. Remember, the goal is not to play games, but to maintain an element of the unknown. Keep her guessing, keep her curious, and you'll keep her interested. 4. Attention, her currency. Attention is one of the most valuable currencies in any relationship dynamic. For women, receiving attention isn't just flattering, it's a form of validation. It feeds their self-worth and influences how they perceive the person giving it. Here's the key. The more freely you give attention, the less valuable it becomes. If you're always available, showering her with compliments and seeking her approval, your attention loses its impact. Think of attention like a rare commodity. When something is scarce, people value it more. When it's abundant, it's taken for granted. If you constantly text her, like every post on her social media, and drop everything to be there for her, you're essentially flooding the market with your attention. There's no challenge, no excitement, and no reason for her to seek more from you. Women are used to getting attention, especially in today's world. Compliments and messages are a dime a dozen. What stands out is a man who knows the value of his attention and doesn't give it away easily. When you're selective with your time and energy, she notices. She starts to crave the validation that your attention brings because it's not easily obtained. This doesn't mean you should ignore her or never compliment her. It's about balance. Give attention strategically, in ways that feel earned and meaningful. When you do this, each moment of focus you give her carries more weight. She'll appreciate it more because she knows it's not something you hand out to everyone. On the flip side, if you're too available, you risk becoming background noise. She won't see you as a challenge or someone worth pursuing. You'll be just another guy vying for her attention, and there's nothing attractive about that. Remember, your attention is valuable. Treat it like a resource, not a giveaway. When you do, she'll see you differently, not as someone desperate for her validation, but as a man who knows his worth. And that's a man she'll want to chase. 5. Ignoring isn't ghosting. There's a fine line between ignoring a woman to build attraction and completely disappearing, and this is where many men get it wrong. Ignoring her doesn't mean cutting off all communication or being disrespectful. It's about creating space to let attraction grow. Ghosting, on the other hand, is immature, disrespectful, and often leaves the other person confused or hurt. Let's make this clear. The goal isn't to vanish, but to become less predictable and more intriguing. When you ignore her strategically, you're simply pulling back a bit. You're not available 24/7. You're not responding to every text within seconds or jumping at every opportunity to meet up. Instead, You're showing that you have priorities and a life outside of her. This signals confidence and independence, qualities that women find incredibly attractive. Ghosting, however, is when you completely cut off contact without explanation. It's cowardly and disrespectful. If you ghost a woman, you're not creating attraction. You're just showing a lack of maturity. This often backfires because it leaves her feeling disrespected rather than intrigued. Remember, the goal is to build attraction, not to play mind games or hurt her feelings. The key difference is intention and respect. Ignoring her is about creating a healthy distance so she can appreciate your presence more. You're not neglecting her, you're setting boundaries. You're showing that your time is valuable and that you're not desperate for her attention. This makes her wonder what you're up to and why you're not constantly seeking her validation. When done right, this approach can actually strengthen the connection. It creates a dynamic where she feels the need to invest more in you. She'll start thinking about you more, wondering why you're not always available and wanting to win your attention back. So, ignore strategically, don't ghost. Keep the communication respectful but measured. Respond when you genuinely want to, not out of obligation. Be present but not predictable. This way, you create an atmosphere of intrigue and value, without crossing the line into disrespect. Remember, the goal is attraction, not alienation. 6. How to stay busy and why it works. Staying busy isn't just a strategy to ignore her. It's a mindset that transforms your entire approach to attraction. When you genuinely focus on your own life, passions, and goals, you naturally become more attractive. Why? Because you're demonstrating self-worth and purpose. A man with a full life is magnetic. He doesn't need to chase, and that's what draws people toward him. Many men fall into the trap of making a woman the center of their universe. They drop everything to be available, thinking this shows dedication. In reality, it sends the message that you have nothing else going on. Women don't want to feel like they're your only source of happiness. They want to join a man who's already fulfilled. So, how do you stay busy? Start by focusing on self-improvement. Hit the gym, work on your career, learn a new skill, or dive into a hobby you've always wanted to try. These activities aren't just time fillers, they build confidence and create a sense of purpose. When you're genuinely engaged in your own growth, you won't have to fake being unavailable. You actually will be. Staying busy also shifts your mindset. You're no longer waiting for her texts or planning your day around her availability. Instead, you're living your life on your terms. This independence is attractive because it shows that you're not seeking validation from her. She'll sense that you have your own direction, and that's far more intriguing than someone who's always waiting around. Here's the key. Staying busy doesn't mean avoiding her or playing games. It means creating a life so fulfilling that you naturally become less available. When you do interact with her, you bring value to the table. You have stories to share, goals to discuss, and a positive energy that comes from living with purpose. Remember, attraction isn't about making her the center of your world. It's about inviting her into a world that's already rich and rewarding. Stay busy, not to ignore her, but to build yourself. When she sees you thriving, she'll want to be part of that journey. 7. Reverse psychology and attraction. Reverse psychology is a powerful tool in attraction when used correctly. It's not about manipulating her into doing what you want. It's about subtly shifting the power dynamic so she feels the need to invest in you. Instead of directly showing interest or chasing after her, you do the opposite, show a little disinterest. This triggers a reaction where she feels the urge to win you over. It's human nature to want what we can't easily have, and reverse psychology taps into that instinct. When you withhold your attention or don't immediately give her the validation she's seeking, it makes her question why. Why isn't he like all the other guys? Why isn't he constantly texting or asking to hang out? This question alone creates a mental shift. She starts to feel a little more invested in you, not because you're forcing it, but because she senses something different about you. Using reverse psychology isn't about being rude or dismissive. It's about creating intrigue. Instead of giving her the full attention she might expect, you remain calm, confident, and a bit detached. This approach is subtle, but impactful. She might start wondering what you're doing, why you're not chasing her like everyone else, and what makes you different. Here's the key. Reverse psychology works best when it's not overused. If you're always playing this game, it becomes obvious and the attraction fades. The trick is to use it in small doses when the time feels right. Show interest, but don't overdo it. Make her work for your attention without making her feel rejected or ignored. In relationships, the power balance is crucial. If she feels like she's always in control or knows exactly how you'll react, the excitement wears off. By subtly reversing the dynamic, you keep her engaged and interested in discovering more about you. It's about showing that you're not easily won over and that you have enough confidence to make her chase you for a change. Mastering reverse psychology is all about balance. You want to pique her curiosity without completely pulling away. Be slightly unpredictable and watch her start to pursue you. 8. Signs you're too available. Being too available is one of the most common mistakes men make when trying to attract a woman. It might feel good to be there for her whenever she needs you, but in reality, it can come across as desperation, and that's a major turnoff. Here are a few signs you might be making yourself too accessible without even realizing it. First, if you're always the one initiating contact, whether it's texting, calling, or making plans, you're sending the message that you have nothing better to do. When a man is constantly the one reaching out, it gives the impression that he's waiting for her approval or validation. Attraction thrives on a sense of mystery and challenge, and constantly being available removes both of those. Second, if you drop everything to see her or talk to her, you're essentially telling her that she's your number one priority, even if she hasn't earned that status yet. While it's great to be considerate and thoughtful, over-prioritizing her can be a red flag. Women want to know that you have your own life, goals, and interests. If she sees that you're willing to rearrange everything just to spend time with her, she'll start questioning your value. Third, if you're always available when she needs help, advice, or someone to listen to, but never when it's your turn to ask for support or show your own needs, it's another sign you're too available. Attraction is a two-way street, and it's important for her to see you as someone who has his own life and boundaries. If she feels like you're always at her beck and call without setting any personal limits, she'll start to take you for granted. Finally, if you find yourself constantly thinking about her or making her the center of your attention, it's time to reevaluate. When you spend all your mental energy on her, it's easy to lose sight of your own life and ambitions. When you're consumed by thoughts of her, you send the message that you're desperate for her validation, and that's a major turnoff. To avoid being too available, make sure you have a life outside of her. Pursue your own interests, focus on your goals, and keep your sense of independence intact. When you do this, you'll naturally create space for her to appreciate and pursue you. 9. Playing hard to get. The right way. Playing hard to get is a tactic that many men misinterpret, thinking it's all about being aloof or distant for the sake of creating drama. But when done right, it's a subtle way of showing that you're not desperate and that your attention is something worth earning. It's not about games. It's about maintaining your value and not giving in too easily. The key to playing hard to get is balance. If you're too distant or uninterested, you'll just come off as rude or uninterested, and that's not the goal. But if you're constantly at her beck and call, you're signaling that you're too available, and that's unattractive. Playing hard to get is about making her work a little to earn your time, attention, and affection. The first step in playing hard to get is knowing your worth. You don't have to chase her or prove yourself. You have your own life, goals, and priorities, and you're not dropping everything just to be with her. When you maintain this mindset, it makes your presence that much more valuable. Next, you need to be unpredictable. Don't always respond immediately to her texts or messages. Leave some space in between. If she reaches out and you're available, don't be afraid to take your time in replying. This creates a feeling of anticipation and keeps her engaged. The key is to avoid being always accessible, which will make her more interested in reaching out to you. Playing hard to get also involves keeping a little mystery in your life. You don't have to reveal everything about yourself right away. Let her wonder, ask questions, and invest time to get to know you. This maintains curiosity and makes her feel like there's more to discover. Lastly, playing hard to get is about not being overly eager. If she wants to see you, don't jump at the opportunity right away. Keep her wondering if you're free. This doesn't mean you should never make plans or show interest, but it's about making sure she knows that your time is valuable, and she has to put in some effort to be part of your life. In the end, playing hard to get isn't about being cold or disinterested. It's about creating the right balance of attention, availability, and mystery that keeps her coming back for more. 10. Balance. Ignore but don't disappear. When it comes to making a woman pursue you, balance is crucial. Ignoring her doesn't mean disappearing entirely or leaving her in the dark. It's about creating the right amount of distance to make her value your time and attention. The goal is to keep things exciting and make her wonder what you're up to, not to completely shut her out. Ignoring her for short periods of time can spark curiosity and drive attraction. But if you completely disappear, you risk losing all the connection you've built. Disappearing can leave her feeling confused, frustrated, or even hurt, and that's not what you want. The key is to strike a balance between giving her space and remaining engaged enough to maintain the connection. This means not responding immediately to every text or jumping into every conversation. It's about being deliberate with your time and not dropping everything to talk to her. However, you also want to make sure that you're still present enough to show you're interested. This means not ignoring her for too long and keeping the lines of communication open, but on your terms. The danger with disappearing is that it can come off as being uninterested or playing childish games. If you're ignoring her with the intent to hurt her or make her feel rejected, it will backfire. The goal isn't to make her feel bad or confuse her, it's to create a healthy sense of challenge and desire. By striking this balance, you keep her on her toes. She'll appreciate the attention you give her, but she'll also want to work for it. She won't take your presence for granted, and she'll be more motivated to pursue you because she knows your time isn't freely given. In the end, ignoring her doesn't mean cutting her off. It's about creating enough space for her to value the connection you have. Avoid disappearing completely, but keep your time and attention in high demand. When you master this balance, she'll start to pursue you without you even trying. Here's the most controversial truth you'll hear today. If you're always chasing a woman, she'll never truly respect you. Men who constantly seek validation or make themselves too available end up putting themselves in a position of weakness. If you're always the one running after her, trying to please her, you're not building attraction. You're building resentment. It's uncomfortable, but it's the reality. Women want to be pursued, but they also want to feel like they're chasing someone who is hard to get, not someone desperate for their attention. I know some of you may disagree, but this is the truth that I've seen work for men in the real world, time and time again. The key is not to ignore women or be rude, but to create balance, value your time, and build a life that's too interesting to chase after someone constantly. I want to hear from you. What's been your experience with this? Have you tried pulling back and making yourself a little less available? Comment below with your thoughts, questions, or experiences. I'll personally reach out to connect and dive deeper into these topics with you. Let's keep this conversation going, and I'll help you navigate the dynamics of attraction.